Hey guys, it's Shade here. I'm bringing you my first video, which is going to be a build on AMARA. This is my build. I call it the Conductive Fist build because I'm actually doing a lot of ice and shock damage. But really, you could do anything you want with this build. Any types of damage, you can change it up, do whatever you want. So I'm looking forward to showing it to you guys. Let me know down in the comments if there's anything that I can do in the future to improve my videos. And I'm going to go over this. Alright, so to start, I'm going to go over the most important skills that you need. So we're going to go into Anima first. Anima is great for your dot damage and dot duration. It's especially good for yourself, honestly, when you're using Elemental Projector. It'll make your dot last longer on yourself, which allows you to deal more damage for longer with your Elemental Projector stuff. The most important ability, in my opinion, on AMARA is Tempest. So whenever you're using any kind of elemental damage, Tempest is going to scale that multiplicatively. Like, it gets ridiculous. And I will show you that in some of my gameplay video, basically, like, especially with melee, how much damage she can do with melee and Tempest. So we're going to grab Illuminated Fist for that extra melee damage and converting the melee to her action skill. If you don't want to do melee, that's fine. Don't take it. You can take something else. And that's it. That's all that's needed, 100% needed for that tree. Then the rest of the skill points you could take wherever you want. My personal preference is to take go into Fist of the Elements a little bit more, but primarily go down Brawl. I find Brawl tree to be a lot of fun, and it's better at surviving than the Fist of the Elements is. But you can also take some of the survivability from Brawl and combine it with like sustainment from Fist of the Elements, and that would do great. So, and then also you can just say, forget the Brawl tree and go down Mystical Assault and really just say, I want to do as much gun damage as possible. So, what I'm going to do is show you my personal build. I'm going to go 3 into personal space for that up close damage. It just helps a ton. We're going to do 2 into Clarity for now. We're going to grab 3 Samsara, which is an amazing skill, and we're going to grab another point of Clarity and 1 point of Helping Hands. The only reason I'm going into only 1 in Helping Hands because you get 12% damage reduction to start, and then it starts going down every level after that. So it ends off at 40% instead of 50 or 60%. And so it's not really worth it, in my opinion, to keep going after that. Plus, it just looks cool running around with all your arms active after your element. It's pretty fun. Find your center. Melee damage, melee range is great. Mindfulness, movement speed is amazing. It's ridiculous. I'm going to go ahead and take the other 2 points into Clarity. That way I have all of my health regen from this tree possible. And I'm going to take 4 into 1 with Nature, giving me more health and more damage reduction. Then I'm going to take 4 into Jab Cross, 1 into Guardian Angel, and 1 into Blitz. So this will kind of round out my damage and survivability from this tree. You could always take, Root to Rise instead of Clarity if you think you're always going to have your stacks of Samsara up. But in my opinion, it's better just to have Clarity anyway. It just helps with survivability. Next, I'm going to go into Infusion, 5 out of 5. Because since I'm not going down to Forceful Expression, I want to have as much of my gun damage being 2 elements as possible. That way I don't have to switch as much. Dread and Indiscriminate, great abilities. And then you can either take 2 into Sustainment, right? Or you can take 1 into Sustainment and 1 into one of these abilities, or put it back into Jab Cross, or 1 with Nature, whatever you want to do. I personally normally go into Fast Hands because 1 sustainment kind of seems to be enough with the Clarity and Samsara. Like the Clarity and Samsara by themselves don't seem to be enough. but for sure the sustainment will help where those two are not, when those two are not active, and it just kind of rounds out that health regen, giving you a good amount. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put that into fast hands, because more reload speed means, you know, more DPS, because you're shooting more shots per second. So, and that also helps with, you know, change speed and swap speed and mode switch speed, which, you know, with a couple of the boss melt options we have, switching actually does matter. So this does help a lot getting those guns out quicker. And that's pretty much what I'm going to go over in this tree. Like I said, it's very customizable. You can do whatever you want. Oh, the other thing is, you know, the skills you want to take. You want to take either Face Slam, Downfall, or Ties That Bind. Fist Over Matter is a good option, but I find that it's like 60% of the time you don't get, or you do get your Samsara stacks. About 40% of the time you don't. Whether that be because you kill your target too fast, or the target is too high up in the air that the slam damage doesn't do the damage to them. It just doesn't consistently get your Samsara stacks like something like Downfall would. And then Ties That Bind just is pure damage dealer. For the augment, I would always take Allure unless you're mobbing with Downfall. If you're mobbing with Downfall and take Allure, you're going to be blowing yourself up a lot from barrels around the maps. So if you take Downfall while mobbing, I would suggest using Revelation. And then Face Slam is just a great quick skill to get those action skill and anointments on. Speaking of anointments, we're going to go over our gear now. I'm going to start off with this class mod here, because this is going to be probably the most important piece. So in order to do the melee damage and gun damage that you want to do, you're going to need a Nimbus or any other purple class mod that gives you +5 Tempest. I believe there is one other class mod that's purple that gives you Tempest, and you can get +5 into it. So either of those two are a good option. You're going to want a Brawler Ward, preferably with the Face Slam Anoint. And you're going to want some good grenades. Those aren't as important though. And for relics, you're going to need 2. You're going to need the Cryo Stone Commander Planetoid, or any Elemental Stone Commander Planetoid. And you're going to need a Elemental Projector White Elephant. Other than that, you're going to need a gun that deals damage to yourself. This is a utility gun only. So this is going to give me damage to myself and proc my Elemental Projector. And the reason why I have it in Radiation and Cryo is because you can deal the other 3 elements naturally to yourself. So you might as well get the 2 you can't deal. That way, if you want to deal them with Elemental Projector, you can. And you can get this to drop at level 1. You just have to join a friend that's already at Private Beans, and then when they kill them, you have a chance of getting the Wester Gun. And it's not that hard to get, honestly. It's a pretty high chance of getting the Wester Gun. The other item that you can get lower level is the Brawler Ward. So level 4 is the lowest level you can get the Brawler Ward at legitimately. You can do this by joining a friend who's doing Brawler Ward in cooperation on Mayhem mode. Any Mayhem mode will work, but higher gives you better chances of dropping Brawler Ward. And when your friend kills that Grave Ward, you will get up to level 4, and then all the gear that drops from him will be level 4. So you can get a level 4 Brawler Ward. The Art of Reflexive Nighthawking is a great SMG. I'm going to just kind of name the good SMGs, and if you guys want a separate video where I go in depth with why each gun is pretty good on AMARA, I can definitely do that. But so for good SMGs on AMARA, I would say top tier would be Cutsman, Nighthawking, Crossroad. The next highest tier would probably be Tsunami and Ripper, and then the one below that is the Spooler, or the Spinner. Destructo Spinner is pretty good, but it just doesn't have enough damage output, in my opinion, to warrant using it. The next gun type I'm going to go over is your assault rifles. So let's do laser splitters. Laser splitters are great guns. You can get them in every element. They do a ton of damage. And I would definitely classify this as top tier. Honestly, all three of these assault rifles are kind of tied, so it's really your choice on what you want to take. They all have different purposes and different uses. So the Helix is a great fast reload, fast movement assault rifle that does a ton of damage up close. So this shoots 3 bullets, and 1 down the center and 2 that kind of weave in and out. And this will allow you to deal a lot of damage up close because all 3 of those bullets are going to hit that same target, probably in a crit spot if you're aiming at the crit spot. And you're just going to be melting health bars and armor bars off of people. The other option is the Dictator, which is also just as good as the Helix, if not better, at the cost of movement speed and jumping. So when you switch modes with this, you get a bipod, and instead of shooting 3 shots, you shoot 7 shots, all for the cost of 1 ammo. So you can melt through people really quickly with the Dictator, especially if you have like a 300 damage face anointment on it. You would be doing a lot of damage. So definitely keep your eyes out for a good Dictator. The next type of gun we're going to talk about is probably the best type on AMARA, and that's shotguns. So I would say there are 4 top tier shotguns out there. Actually, I would say there are 3 top tier shotguns out there for AMARA. So Flacker, Brainstormer, and the Face Puncher are going to be tier 1. And then, in my opinion, and then the Butcher is going to be tier 2. I haven't done enough testing with the Redline or any of the like non-elemental shotguns really, but I know that out of the elemental shotguns, these are amazing so far that I've tested. So Flacker, especially in the fire element, will melt Anointed really quickly. So definitely keep your eyes out for a fire Flacker. The Face Puncher will also melt Anointed if you have this particular build on, and it will help a lot with everything else. You'll be doing a ton of damage. You can melt bosses with this in White Elephant, all sorts of stuff. It's great. The Brainstormer is amazing. So the Brainstormer is good for a very particular reason, and that is just stripping bars from people. So you can chain the Brainstormer between like 2 people for a lot of damage. And the more people that are in that chain, the more that damage spreads, and you deal a lot of damage very quickly in a large area. You also get indiscriminate bonuses with that, and you can just really start melting people with that and tie zip line. My personal preference is to get an anointment with an extra elemental magazine damage type, because all of your elements also chain. So if you get something like cryo or radiation, all of that and their extra beneficial effects will chain to other people. So for cryo, for example, if they are frozen, then they take more melee damage and explosive damage and normal bullet damage, I believe. And you will be wrecking them very fast with Brainstormer and cryo. And the cryo will be proccing very consistently. You'll definitely see that. In my opinion, the best option for a Brainstormer is actually not the redundant version. It's actually the cash infused Brainstormer. And the reason for this is because the cash infuse allows you to shoot more shots, which, I mean, obviously, but the biggest thing is that the redundant Brainstormer is just so strong that it will send people flying across the map, and you don't want to be missing a person from in front of you when you're part of the way you sustain yourself is by dealing damage to people. Like, if the thing you're leeching life from goes away, it's not a good situation for you to be in. This happens a lot less on the cash infused Brainstormer in my testing, so I highly recommend using this instead. So aside from that, let's go over the last gun type actually before we move on to grenades. is sniper rifles. And on AMARA, there are a couple of good sniper rifles, but really the only one worth mentioning is the Lyuda. So this is going to be your other option for boss melting for sure. Like this will take out Grave Ward in one clip for me. You'll be getting rid of his bar very quickly. So if you use the redundant face puncher and white elephant, you can use the trick Unforgiven, and that'll definitely get him killed in one clip 100% of the time. But if you use if you don't want to use the trick Unforgiven thing because you find it cheap or whatever, you can use either redundant face puncher with the white elephant and still get a good bit of damage, or you can use the Lyuda and you'll definitely take him out very quickly with either of those. Finally, the grenades. You can use any kind of hex you want for mob clearing and stuff like that, and the firestorms if you want. But this is an interesting grenade. So the It's Piss, it actually causes damage to take 20% increased damage from all sources because it doesn't actually specify from what. So I've done some testing with it and I don't notice a very large increase. I'm wondering if it's actually 20% because this theoretically would be multiplicative because it's going to be applied after everything else gets applied. So it's going to take the damage that you do from your gun and apply it to that, not the base damage of your gun. So I'm not entirely sure if this is what it says it is, but I need to do some more testing. Theoretically, though, this would be your boss melt grenade. You throw this on a boss and, you know, face slam and start going to town with the redundant face puncher. Like, you would be dealing a ton of damage if you did all of those things at once. Like, a lot of damage. But, yeah, so that's probably going to be it for my tutorial today. Leave me any comments letting me know if there's anything that I can improve on next time. Also, I've been going through the game. I found a lot of guns. Leave me which gun you find to be the most interesting gun you've come across so far. My personal most interesting gun is the Peacemonger. This gun's really cool. It shoots a rocket that will detonate after a certain distance, split into 4 rockets, kind of like the Lyuda does with bullets. But it will split into 4 rockets that home. So it's really cool. It's a really good gun. I like it a lot, and would love to see them buff Atlas a bit more so I can use it. But yeah, so until next time, guys, enjoy the video I have of the extra gameplay that I have, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
You wanna go? Mediocre.